to ask this question.
Oh, God.
And like Trevon Diggs deleted his social media. I want to start with him. People on Twitter are saying Trevon Diggs is having wide receivers running right by him. Big deal or not? Because Mickey kind of addressed that, and so did you.
Okay. Mike, we watched it.
Yeah.
All right. And the more you look at it, you say, okay, what's ultimately happening in their defense more times than not? He's not playing by himself out there.
Sure.
He's playing with usually a safety is going to be high on deep balls with him. So that's something that's going to help out. When a quarterback knows, all right, man, all I have to do, he has to beat him vertically. If he beats him vertically, I throw as far as I can, and I beat that cornerback. So Dak Prescott with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb takes off downfield, bam, he's gone. And Dak knows, I don't have anybody else to worry about except for the fact that he beat him, throw it as far as I can. Stephen Fehoko made a really good play, and he kind of did the same thing, made a cut, and then bam, he was up the field too. But I'm not taking that I don't think that Trevon Diggs can't cover now. Like that doesn't make me think that he can't cover one-on-one either. But on those two specific plays, which people will look at over and over, he did get beat in one-on-one. But is that what his main focus is to stop one-on-one coverage on that practice? Yes, in that moment he was. But I'm not that worried about that because whenever the defense is on the field out there together, things are drawn up differently to kind of create those kinds of turnover opportunities.
Not worried about it at all.
Okay.
Practice.
Me neither.
If you want to just play 10 yards, then fine. The next time, just to appease everybody, play 10 yards off of the line of scrimmage on one-on-ones and then just start jogging backwards and be like, that's fine. You can catch the ball right in front of me for 10 to 15 yards. That's not the drill.
Yeah.
The drill is press coverage, beat them deep. So you have to, his job, I get it. His job is not to get beat. His job is to knock down the ball or intercept the ball, but also it's not really real.
And he's going into his third season, and in his second season, he was first team All-Pro.
Now,
so I think I'm okay with it.
I do understand whenever I listen to Deion Sanders, Kevin, talk about how we have to practice with a purpose. If you're looking at going, what was his purpose on those reps? I don't know exactly what it was, but I'm not looking at him going, he's not going to be a great cornerback this year.
And he'll get beat this year. He'll get beat deep for a touchdown. And this year, he'll intercept a deep ball. And I'm not saying he'll score a touchdown, but he
could.
It's reps, but it's fine. Cowboy fans, he's not bad at practice. Kelvin Joseph is horrible at practice.
Yeah, Kelvin Joseph doesn't look good. I'm kind of trying to figure this out because interception is a home run. I'm trying to compare this a little bit to where he is because I don't look at him and go, he's Joey Gallo, where it's like he's just getting interceptions or getting burnt all the time. He's better than that.
Aaron Judge.
Is it Aaron? Would that be a good comparison, Mike? He
was literally
he's great
he
at home
voted
runs.
The best cornerback in football last year.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of what the way I would look at it is he's hitting bombs, and on top of that, he's putting in really good coverage too. So he's gonna be fine.
Maybe this year he'll be part of the conversation though of Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh man, I remember that day.
I'm not starting that conversation with you.
This one I feel like. It's no, you.
Oh, no, wow.
Okay.
You did it.
No, I'm not falling for that for more than 2 seconds like I already did. I 100% fell for that for 2 seconds. Now I'm not going to fall for that anymore.
Loser.
Dak throwing a pick or having a bad throw in general. Now, this might just be emblematic of the way people judge quarterbacks that some people still aren't sure of, or the way they judge quarterbacks.
Or maybe the defense is just that good.
You know? That is what Mike would tell me, but
there are a couple of things I would take into consideration. One, if it's one bad throw, no big deal. We were watching a lot of the same thing over and over that we were like, oh, well, that hasn't worked out yet, and it should be. Like I think a quarterback, like the really good quarterbacks, maybe I'm wrong, should be nailing those things in practice all the time. The other thing was, and this does go to, is our defensive line really that good or our offensive line struggling that much, is, man, once they snap the ball, there are people in his grill. And if that's going to be the case this year, we are in lots of trouble. That can't happen. But no, it's if it's one throw and it's like, oh, man, that one sailed really bad. Then you watch a couple sail in a row and you're like, man, and we've talked about accuracy for a long time. I'd still go back to it was maybe second or third year against the Rams, and I said we should start looking at this, and then it became a problem. So I think that when it's one throw, no big deal. But Dak, I'm kind of curious as to, is he just a gamer and he's a bad practice thrower? Because it didn't look great at practice for me.
How much of this feeds into what your opinion already was about that player? Because before you even started answering that question, somebody said we should be worried about having the worst quarterback in the league. Well, that's obviously a stupid opinion. We're not supposed to say that. That is a very ill-informed, not football understanding opinion. He's not the worst quarterback in the NFL. He's not even close to the worst. He's far closer to the best quarterback in the league than he is to the worst quarterback in the league. So that's just silly. But that person, as soon as they see a bad Dak throw, they're going to be like, because he's trash. Whereas me, I'm like, we've been waiting to have an awesome corner for a long time. We have one, and we should just love it. So when Trevon Diggs get burned, I'm like, I mean, it sucks, but it happens sometimes.
Yeah, it's going to happen in one-on-ones. With Dak, I mean, it could cost you. That's what people are really going to be most upset about, is if the guy's not accurate, it's going to cost you in a playoff game or at a big moment, and that's going to be a problem.
I do think for Dak, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, I think this is the first time in his career, I guess I'll say besides 2018, that he has to turn a average or below average receiver in our eyes into an above average receiver.
Okay. Yeah.
He has to create Miles Austin. And I'm not saying Miles Austin didn't have anything to do with it. Miles Austin was a good receiver, but he was a nobody. And then Romo all of a sudden turned him into, we have a receiver. And I always forget the guy's name that ended up going to Jacksonville after having
Laurent
Robinson. Can you take a Laurent Robinson, Dak, this year and turn him into what we saw
Which we
for
would
a
say
10 or 11
that's
game?
your Brown, that's your Houston, right?
Yeah.
Like if you make that kid somebody,
did
Dak do that at all? Do you give him credit for Cedric Wilson at all?
That's a good point. Okay, yeah. In a way, yes.
Because think about it.
He's shown the ability to do it. I like that.
We lost Cedric Wilson, and people are like, "Oh, that sucks." But before the season, hey, Cedric Wilson's going to play. You'd be like, all right, okay, I don't care. Yeah. So okay, I mean that gives me hope.
I got you. You changed my mind on that one, just like I changed your mind on the conversation of defensive player.
I'm not following for that other part. Now this one feels real. Kickers missing field goals.
Oh God.
And you just heard Mike McCarthy kind of address well, here's why it wasn't a problem last year. We were waiting on recovery from surgery, and I think it's going to be okay and everything, blah, 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 blah. The Cowboys do not seem like imminently we're going to be looking at all kinds of new different things. How concerned do I need to be about this?
I think very concerned.
Well, I mean, if your defense holds everybody to 10 points and your offense scores 35 a game, then not concerned at all, Kevin.
How likely do you think that is?
But if it comes down to a kick, throw it instead. Or run it.
I know this is weird.
Don't kick it.
We forget all of these things, but who won a lot of games and was a good team with a bad field goal kicker? I'm sure there's examples.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's just too many games that come down to this dude needs to make a kick. And I can only remember being there in 2016 in the playoffs and Mason Crosby. And I can't remember his whole year or anything, but when he was lining up, I'm like, oh, this son of a bee's made like 1,000.
A terrible year.
And then made that
and then went on a stretch where he was awesome and nailed that one. But yeah, you got to be able to rely on that. At some point, it's going to come down to McCarthy will say this. He said it for years now. Hey, it took us 77 guys on the roster to win that Super Bowl. Hey, somebody's going to have to be there for that one moment because we got to rely on everybody on this roster. So I'm concerned.
I just look at last year, for example. You lost the first game by 2 points. You won the second game by 3 points. The game against New England went into overtime. The game against the Raiders went into overtime. You lost the Arizona game by 3 points. It's not hard to find these games that were greatly impacted.
The first 2 games of the year, we're going to beat the Bucks and or the Bengals and not have a good field goal kicker. Let's just say in those games you go a combined 3 of 6 on field goals, and they're not at halftime you were attempting a 60-yard field goal. I'm talking about very makeable NFL field goals, and you make 50% of them against those two teams.
Well, and
You're
guess
gonna
what?
win?
Yeah, Greg Zuerlein missed 2 kicks in that game.
Hey, hold on. Let me ask you this, though. Last year, how many times were we frustrated that Zuerlein missed extra points?
Yes.
All right, so Jerry did say, all I want is consistency from the extra points. You know why he said that? Because McCarthy's probably, if he's in field goal range, is going for it on 4th down. So that's probably why Jerry's
honestly,
like, hey, we're going for it. We're going to be aggressive. So we might as well just make sure we can kick those extra points from 31 yards out.
I hope that you're right, because I think a lot of folks are going to be okay with that. Look, I fall victim.
Make your extra points.
Yeah.
Those are gimmies.
And also be a little bit more aggressive, because we've talked about this with Mickey before, this is a game where field goals lost you that game. And I don't mean missed field goals. I mean kicking the field goal lost you that game. Like, for example, you line up against Tampa to start the season. I'm going to view that game from the jump as a game where field goals lose you this game. I know you're not going to score a touchdown every single drive, or else what a party we're going to have the next day and everything like that. But it's going to feel like a thing.
Doubleheader.
Yes, I'm well aware. It's going to be one of those things where if it's 4th and 1 at the 15 on the opening drive and we kick a field goal, I'm going to mark that down and be like, that feels like a loss. Like, that feels like you got to go for it. You're down this far. You got to score a touchdown. So I hope that you're right, that perhaps they will, not about the rest of the stuff about how we can't kick, but about the part that perhaps some kicker difficulties will lead us to be more aggressive in field goal type situations.
Yeah, let's score a 7, man. Or 6 at least.
No.
I mean, 7 would be cool, but 6 for sure. You know? Let's get this.
This might be the year that we do the high school thing and just go for 2 every time.
I like it. Let's do that. Oh, my gosh. What if you don't even need a kicker and you don't have to pay him that salary?
If that's the case, it's August 8th, for God's sake.
Then we can spend that money on another wide receiver.
The season does not start for like 5 weeks.
Or defensive
We
end.
can't figure that out. You got 5 effing weeks. Guess what? Put me in charge for 5 weeks. I will find you a human being that can kick the damn ball through the uprights.
Let's do it.
Come on, I don't have time for a bad time.
It's 5 weeks of time I could be having fun.